Sketching and inking is by far my favorite part of the process. If I could, I would never color. Let me guide you with the workflow and some tips on how to get better with sketching and inking.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's jam.
I'd say 80% of the battle is sketching and the last 20% is inking, but neither of them should be taken lightly because inking won't cover up a terrible sketch and vice versa. If your sketching is great but you're struggling with inking, it'll rob the drawing of its energy and life. The best way to achieve a balance is through multiple sketch iterations and learning proper line weight control. We can't all create perfect how-to drawings. Take the time and lay out the groundwork. The drawing in this video is of my manga, Battle of the Fittest, which follows the same sketching and inking process. Let's do a quick demo to illustrate my point. The first stage is rough, and I mean rough. Get something on paper quickly and capture the initial energy and inspiration from your head. In the second stage, build on the rough sketch and start adding structure, while maintaining speed and looseness. The third stage involves adding detail to make the character look as intended. The fourth stage should be nearly as tight as your final inks. I prefer to figure out everything at this stage so that inking becomes almost automatic. For more experienced artists, stages 3 and 4 can be merged if you prefer diving straight into the inks. It honestly depends on you and how comfortable you are with your skills. The fifth stage is inking, and this depends on your visual style and how stylistically you want it to look. Here are a few tips for creating appealing lines. Vary your line weight by using thick to thin and thin to thick lines, and practice controlling your pen pressure. A great thing to do is analyzing your favorite artists and understanding where and when they use thick and thin lines. Be fast with your strokes and use your shoulders rather than your wrists. There's a bunch of exercises you can do to practice this. Digital is a lot more forgiving since we have the undo button, so don't be afraid to just delete it and start all over. When you're doing traditional, use the technique called ghosting. Hover over the paper and practice the movement of the stroke before putting the pen down and making a mark. If you aren't there yet, you can always build up the lines instead, or even carve into them with an eraser. When you're drawing, look out for areas like these, known as T-intersections or T-lines. Adding blacks to these areas can help emphasize overlaps and make your line art and inking pop. These tips apply universally, so practice them and develop them with any medium, whether traditional or digital. The brush you use ultimately doesn't matter, the principles remain the same. I use the brush from Tara's Oval Sketch, which I've customized to my liking. You can take whichever brush you like and play around with the settings till you get something you like. If you're serious about learning, consider turning off or reducing stabilization or the streamlined settings. These settings can be a crutch, and relying on them won't help you become a better artist. Once you're comfortable and skilled at it manually, you can use these settings more freely for added support. Just remember that when drawing in a sketchbook, you won't have these digital tools to rely on. Hopefully this helps you with making better sketches and inks. I do the same process with my manga pages and drawing in general. The rest of the video will be a time lapse of me drawing a cover of Battle of the Fittest. That way you can see everything I talked about in action. If you like this video, you know what to do. That's enough of me yapping. See you in the next one.